What's going on? Welcome back to CKQ Podcast. I am your host, Clement. And today we have our lovely panel today. You guys going to mute yourselves. We have Melissa.
Hi, guys.
We have E Black, who's muted.
And it wouldn't be live.
Black, you good? I guess not.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
I had a pop-up on my machine.
Come on, man. Come on. We're professionals, man. How you guys doing? Good?
Doing great.
A little nervous about going live? The whole world could see us right now. All right. The whole world. The whole 3 people. All right.
You never know with these things, though.
I mean, this is, on air forever. But let's get to the topics of hand today. All right. First question. Why don't most people know how to talk about their wants in a relationship?
Good
Francesca.
question.
Francesca, let's start with you.
Oh,
Yes.
I guess maybe people are just like now, like it's like not normal to talk about it. I never really had a situation where I never had an opinion or wanted to say what I want in a relationship. But I guess with online dating, a lot of people are really not clear what they want. You know, they might say like, "Oh, I have no expectations," and then someone might have expectations with something. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but and I think it's all. I don't know if it makes sense. I never had a problem with that, so I don't know.
So you've never had a problem with communicating in your relationship?
Well, I'm saying for online dating, absolutely. There's always miscommunication. Because for me,
this is just relationships.
I might want to, have a certain goal. Yeah, relationships. Like I'm always like, here, everything's on the table. I don't know. I'm very, opinionated and I'm very outspoken. So I never was ever had a miscommunication relationship. So that's just personally with me.
E Black?
Well, I think the reason why is because usually goals change as you develop in life. When you first start off, like when I was a young man, sex was the most important thing in a relationship. Then it became communication. Then possibly after a while, it became, whether I wanted to have a person that knew me. And you get sometimes caught up younger in life trying to figure things out. And if you're as a man, we're told at a very young age not to be as emotional. So it's hard for men to actually tell women what we feel because we feel like they will never understand a man. And it's hard for, I guess, women to say it because I would say that women don't actually know what they want until it's too late. So,
oof, shots fired.
I'm starting early.
Melissa's already offended. Okay, that was fair. I like that. I definitely agree with that. That most of us aren't really, as guys, we're not really taught how to express or say what we want. A lot of the time, it's just do what makes the woman happy, really. But Melissa, let's hear your take on this, and then we'll circle back around.
To me, I just feel like it makes it hard, especially with these days, everybody wants just instant gratification. And then a lot of times people don't realize that it's a lot of hard work when you're in a relationship. Even though you can be with somebody that can be the best person for you, it's life. And E Black was saying, it's a journey. It's not always going to be perfect and rainbows and butterflies. There's ebbs and flows. But then also, I feel like, especially for like a female perspective, and Francesca can say if she's gone through that or not. Like a lot of times, like when women say like, "Oh, I want this and this and this," people always, say like, "Oh, you're asking for too much," or that it's too like what like that doesn't make any sense, or they make you feel bad for having,
Do you
you
usually hear
know.
that from guys or women?
No, I've gone like from both sides where it's like most guys would be like, that's good that you're like that you know what you want, because a lot of times like women, we're the ones that overthink a lot of things. And I've had like a lot of guy friends that are like, we're not that complicated, to be honest. Like if you tell us like this and this and this, then it will work out. But like women's minds is like, oh well, if we're to this or that, or if we're, then we could be considered, you know, too much or something, or like we're being too self-righteous, or we're being a little bit like selfish if we're actually like saying and speaking up for ourselves of what we want. And I think that's also why like there's a lot of like miscommunication when it comes, and it doesn't even have to be romantic, it could just be in general, like of things not working out the way that you want it to.
This sounds like, from what I'm hearing, I mean, obviously correct me if I'm wrong. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like a lot of this stuff is mainly, it doesn't really seem like guys are really putting any of that on you though. You know what I mean?
Oh no, like no, I'm not saying that it's like the opposite sexes like fall at all. No, I'm just saying like, a lot of times people have like a certain perception of things, of how they perceive things to be, and then it's like you don't want to like in a way just and I guess also has to do with the other question. It's just knowing what you want and not feeling like you're giving up something, you know?
So let me ask you, can I ask Melissa something, if you don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Melissa. So you said that, most men would say that you know what you want,
Melissa,
right?
is she awake? Melissa?
Oh,
Are
Are you?
okay.
you, did you,
Sorry. There's like a lag.
no
So like it
problem.
like your mouth and your was not like at the same time. Um
Okay.
I mean, I,
So
I don't feel like I have a shape.
Wow, that's a pretty crazy
It just
lag.
depends on the if the other person is willing on meeting you halfway.
okay. So in most relationships, you communicated well, or would you say that you communicated well?
Or I at least tried.
What was the
Being
problems?
completely honest. It's
What was
just like I and I know like no like nothing is perfect, because nothing is ever perfect. But it's just like it's expectations versus like reality, and it's just a lot of times where I know like how I want to be treated, and I know how like how I feel a relationship is supposed to be like, but a lot of times, especially, I don't know if it's like a generational thing, like I feel like sometimes there can be like a disconnect when it comes to that, and then people become like disappointed. That's where I'm getting at.
okay. So men are
Francesca's looking at me like, "What, girl?"
so from what I'm hearing is that you're a master communicator, and no man has ever told you that they can't. They're not getting hearing, being heard.
I mean, I would hope that I am communicating. It's just It's
What
either
about the
people.
man's communication? What about the man's communication? How do most men say that you communicate with them?
Well, I've had guy friends and they say that it's relatively well, but it's just like when it's romantic, then like sometimes things get a little choppy because there's like more
It is a
emotions
little different.
involved, I guess.
It is a little different
It
when
is.
if
It's
anything, I
different.
would say everything is heightened.
Yeah.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you don't really communicate with your friends, you're definitely not going to be communicating with your lover. My thought. Francesca, you've been.
Yeah, no, I relatively like agree with everyone. You know, everyone has like a good input with it. Communication is a very big thing if you want to be successful in a relationship. You know, that's just the bottom line. But it depends on how you're communicating, right? So for me, like I said, it's like there are certain things that I would want in a relationship. Whatever, if it's with someone, it should be just for long term or you know, or short term, like whatever I perceive them to be, right? So I personally never had a problem where the miscommunication was like, well, what does my man want? Or does he not hear what I want? I always try to make sure like that I'm always ahead of the game, like a step ahead with that. So that's just like I said, is just me. You know, having good, you know, communication skills and being charismatic. Sometimes people just have it and some people just don't. And they gotta work on things. It depends if you're compatible. It depends if like, you know, if you're just testing out the waters of the relationship. There's so many factors. But like I said, personally, if I want something in it or if my boyfriend wants something in it, it's gonna be like on the table
You
always.
said you said
So
compatible. Do you think people can work at being compatible, or do you think it's something that just happens off the bat, off the rip?
I
Mm.
think it just happens. It just happens. That's how I feel. Like, you know, but you know, if you think
Chemistry.
about it, whereas you're compatible with someone, and then let's say like yeah, their chemistry, like chemistry is definitely off the bat. But if you're with
It,
someone and then you
it,
start noticing like, you know, we're not really as compatible that I thought we would be, getting to know someone, that's a different
yeah,
story. Because falling in love is easy as falling out of love. You start
and
getting
that's
annoyed with certain things, and you know,
and that's exactly what I said in the beginning is that at first sex was, you know, we all communicate. Let's be honest, we all communicate. This is not really a question about communication. This is about a question about whether we're able to have understanding communication. You know,
Effective communication.
effective communication where in which you're displaying your wants. But then, like I said in the beginning, I didn't know what I wanted. You know, for the most part of my life, I did not know what I wanted in a relationship. For the majority of my life, I was sex was the number one thing. And then after that, when I had more resources, then I wanted to be able to at least, you know, talk to you and like enjoy your company. You know, that was probably another level. And then after that, I was like, okay, does this person actually like me and dig me? And then I had to learn how to verbalize it, not only speaking wise, but non-speaking wise. Like, so for the majority of our relationships, a lot of times women would say you're shallow or I don't know you. That's what I get in the majority of my relationships is that because I either I was so busy trying to get sex, either I was so busy just trying to get to, you know, my needs met on a shallow way that I wasn't really stipulating what I wanted from these women. So, you know, I think I've gotten better at that. You know, me and my partner, we work out how, and, you know, we even schedule times. Like that was one thing about it is like, you know, you got to set, if you're with somebody, schedule times and understand when the time is, you know, men, we work hard. You know, we work hard every single day. Sometimes the lunchtime, the dinner table is not the best time to speak to a man. Sometimes you got to figure out these moments to be expressive, and women got to understand those things. You know, and as a man, sometimes we have to be a little bit more forthcoming towards our women and say, you know what, I'm going to sit through this hour conversation about Friends and Seinfeld and
Do you think we have to sit
I'm
through
mad
that
that
now?
you said Seinfeld. I'm so mad that you said Seinfeld right now.
Brought back memories.
Well,
It was
they
like
run so
bringing
many
back to the
reruns.
90s.
They run so many reruns. I think everybody has seen at least one episode these days. But
Or more.
or more, yes. But I think, like I said, I think for the most part, women have to. I think specifically women have to learn their men, and learn how to get things out of them that they want and need, not just focus on their needs. Because a lot of times y'all kind of just, it's all about me. Take me out, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me, and you don't realize that the man is sitting there like, girl, you don't care about nothing I'm talking about. You didn't hear what I just said. Talked about how my job, and my job is like getting on my nerves.
I agree with him. By the way, I see you guys cringing over there, but I agree with him. This is that does happen.
You
Like
know,
there's a lot of not really listening going on sometimes.
yeah. And then when we start cheating, and y'all wonder why we start cheating, and we tell you why we cheating, and then next thing you know, you guys are just going off on, well, I cook, I clean, I love you, I do this for you. Why did you do it? And we're saying, well, you don't listen. That's a good question. Have you guys ever been cheated on?
No.
No.
What? Mm,
I had it. No.
okay.
Have you guys ever cheated?
Yes.
Ooh. And why? I mean,
No.
what was it? Could you explain it? Was it lust or?
I guess like what you're saying, like, you're not getting that right communication or the attention. I did have like one into when I was younger. I was just like, well, I'm bored. Like that maybe. Like it's stupid. I was younger. I don't think I would ever get myself in that situation now. But I was just more so like, oh, I'm bored, let's have fun. Or you're just like drunk. It happens. Shit
So
happens.
let me ask
You
you,
get
the
yourself
the
in
guy
weird situations.
the guy that you were with, did you just not really think much of him?
At that time, no.
Okay.
It was just kind of
Um,
like, when you're not feeling the relationship anymore. No, I was 17, it's a sin. I was supposed to take him to prom. I was a dick, I was. And I'm owning up to it now, and I feel really bad about that I even did that. But there was a point in time in my life where I just was just like, I didn't care. And it's a really horrible thing to say, but you live and you learn. So
I mean, I think we all go through that phase. I mean, you can just hope that you didn't hurt too many people in the process, but hey, that's as long as you don't hurt too many people and don't come out with too much baggage. I think your younger years are there's gonna be a lot of mistakes that you're gonna cringe over after you get older.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you're now tuning in, welcome back to CKQ Podcast. We're moving on to the next question. People that settle are the real winners. So by settle,
Mm.
I mean people that decide to stay with each other in relationships are the real winners.
Mm.
Melissa, settle. People that settle.
Melissa ain't settling. I'm telling you that right now.
But no, and I no, because I don't want to sound like self-righteous or anything like that. No, and not at all. But the thing is that like I feel like, and I know like everybody's relationship is different. People stay together for different reasons, whether it's financial or because of the kids or because they've been together with this person for like years and years and years. So they're already comfortable. And it's like they feel like, why try to find something else? Because I already have this, whatever. Like you never know what's going on in people's psyches. You don't. But I just feel like, and I know the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and that's when you can get into trouble. But I also feel like why that the world, especially like nowadays, and we're living a lot longer than we did before. And it's just like, why not give yourself like a chance of finding somebody that not like may not give you like everything on your list, but gives you, you know, not only like the passion but also stability and makes you feel like you're safe. Like why should you feel like, oh, I have to just be with this person just because? Like, do you want to be with them? Do you need to be with them? It's just like, I feel like then you're not going to be fulfilled within yourself because you're not being who you truly want to be with said person, or you're not fully fulfilled because you're not with a person that you really want to be with. And that to me, and maybe it's like the romantic side of me, like I just feel like that's sad that you can't like fathom the thought of actually
So then
having
you
like
want
a
like full
relationship.
on love though. So so then do you think that love is an intense burning passion that sustains the entire relationship throughout the entirety of the relationship?
I mean, realistically, I mean, like I said before in the other question, like every relationship ebbs and flows. So there's moments where you're going to be on, and there's moments where you're like, get away from me right now. But like, I mean, it happens to everybody.
How long is
But you
too
need to
long
have
to
that.
do that?
You need to have that like, at least like that respect with each other.
Respect.
Or that.
That's
But
a
how long is it too long to be playing the field, or having your list kind of creep up with more and more demands? When does this period
Oh, but it's.
stop?
I mean, I don't know. I just turned 30, and it's just like I know a lot more about myself now that I just turned 30 of what like what like I don't it's not like the biggest list in the world. It's just I want, of course, somebody that's going to treat me right, respectful, is loyal, and has a good head on their shoulders and wants to grow and build a life for themselves, with me included in it. But like that can come in different packages. So at that part, I'm like, I don't think it's the issue.
Hmm.
Francesca, you want to chime in on this?
Um, yeah, I guess,
What was that?
yeah. What was the roster?
Don't worry about it. I'll drop it at some point. All right.
Copyright stricken already.
Yeah, right.
we every week we begin demonetized. Look.
It's all right. It's okay. I want to enjoy my ride all the way out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in the chat said she in the danger zone. That list better be humble. My list is humble, sir.
Ooh.
Ooh. Francesca, chime in. What do you think?
You're gonna settle because of being comfortable is like the worst thing ever. So like if people do, or like Melissa said, if you have to stay in a relationship, the finances or kids, that I can understand that to an extent. But when people are just so afraid of the unknown or afraid of being alone, they just like settle with someone because of that comfort. I think that's messed up. I think that's pretty sad, honestly. I would never want to just be with someone just because it's comfortable. I'm so scared. I don't want to date. I don't want to like go meet someone. Like I get it, but sometimes it can be really negative. It can be a negative environment if that's the case. And you're
So
just
what if things aren't crazy, but they're good? Would you consider that a point to settle? They're not
depending on
hot and intense passion, but they're not like fighting toxic passion.
yeah. It depends on age. To be honest with you, I had a lot of friends who got into relationships in their early 20s, like after college. They were with their boyfriends or girlfriends for about 3-4 years, and that's heavy. And they got to a point where they were comfortable, like, oh, we're like married, but we're not, and it's nice. I love him, and it's really cool. They play house and stuff, and listen, people want to do that, it's fine. But when they break up, or if things just don't work out, I have so many friends where they let themselves go. You know, like they don't know who they are other than just being with a relationship because they were comfortable. And being that like so young, they didn't get to experience.
Do you
So
think settling is a good thing then?
no, absolutely not. Especially if you're like 22 years old and you're very young and you're settling so early. Well, what are you gonna experience? So what happens
So,
if you guys break up? Like
do you think there's ever a point in time where you should settle?
with age, yes.
What age are we talking here?
I'm gonna say like, see, my mother had me very late. My mom had me in her 30s, and you know she got to experience life. She got to experience certain things and people and gaining character. And I would say like if I do meet someone at that time, if I'm in my mid 30s and something, and I happen to do it, then I'm gonna do it. You know, but not
How
no. That's how I see it.
how long was she dating your dad prior to having you in her 30s?
Probably maybe a year. He was 42, so you know she was
Okay.
42. Like they worked. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes people rush into things and they settle too early, and then they're like, oh well, I'm here and I'm comfortable, but what if, you know?
Is that do you think that's average? Like, do you think that's like one of those things that happens on a, like, out of 10 women, do you think that they are able to meet somebody at that age and like have children and be happy in a relationship?
And this
Out
year,
of, out of 10 women,
I think
give
it's,
me,
if anything, it's
how many?
not the norm. I don't think it's out of 10 women, I would say maybe 3 of the 10 actually get married, have kids by 28 years old.
By 28 or after 28?
Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. So I'm posting up the link inside of the chat. Anyone that wants to chime in to this topic, people that settle are the real winners. The real winners that settle are the real winners.
Well,
Call
back
in.
to
You can only do it once. Go.
but back to the question is do you think that it's safe to tell other people, hey, wait till your later 30s, find somebody that's compatible and have children, or do you want to possibly grow with somebody in your younger age?
Well, you know, it all depends on who you are, how you were raised, where you're from, right? At the end of the day, how it's going to
Yes.
be. But if someone does meet someone out of college and they just happen to fall in love and get married, that's awesome. Like, I would never want to say, oh, that's wrong or settling. No, sometimes it just happens.
Of course.
Out, you know? But if you're going to go into play wife and husband at 21 years old and getting to a point that if I'm out, you're always together, like, it's just like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying. Trust me, I hear what you're saying. You're saying you should go out and have more sex and
no,
what are you doing during this years of times? Because that's all I did during my 20s.
I'm just saying, like, see what you like. Don't settle. You know, don't always like get into a big commitment if you can't even afford a house. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. You know, be your own best friend. Be like, go out, do things alone, and then when things just fall into place, they will. But don't just be with someone. Just be with someone. Don't just settle, especially if they're not what your ideal person is. That's what I'm.
That's very interesting.
I don't know. It's a little weird to me, just because, and I do understand what you're saying, Fran, but it does sound a little weird because it almost sounds like you're saying learn to live life by yourself.
I'm just
I don't think by yourself though. I don't think that's what she means. I just feel like she means that, like,
Love yourself first.
Just, yes, to love yourself enough to give yourself the opportunity to find somebody that you know you can be evenly keeled with and get each other, you know, and not just be in a relationship with just anybody just because you're like, oh, I'm a young adult female, I should be with somebody just to say that I have somebody, because then you're gonna be like just being with anybody like riffraff from the street, and then it's not going to get anywhere, and you're not going
Yes.
to get what you want out of the relationship. So it's
Have
just
more sex, have more sex, and then when you get with somebody, they'll understand why you had more sex.
I cannot stand you right now.
Because I'm sorry, when you're young and you're doing these things, you're having more sex. That's, as a man, that's all I'm hearing is like, you guys are saying find yourself, love yourself. I'm like, I'm hearing
But
more
I'm not.
sex and more sex.
Well, I mean, you can find yourself through that process, I guess. I don't know, like whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you there.
No, we can't tell people that. I'm sorry. Look, you guys gotta really, really, really hone in on your needs and wants at a younger age. You don't have a lot of time to do the things. When you get kids at a older age, it's gonna be harder to take care of them. You know, you're gonna have, and then not only that, you're gonna be more and more rigid to another individual. You want the best thing in life is actually getting with somebody and growing with them, growing with them, and having them learn you and you learn them. And then when you change, being able to rely on them to understand your changes. You can't just sit like you're rolling the dice. You're actually trying to roll the dice and try to say, hey, I might meet somebody who's compatible with me, that I've had sex, like who appreciates me with pictures of me on the internet with in Italy having sex with Italian guys. It's like, you know,
But
it's,
T
I,
it's
Black.
but
Some of
to,
the
oh,
things you
but
some of
to
the
be
things you say,
honest,
bro.
and I understand. I understand completely, because I like, again, like a relationships. You know, you want to be able to grow with somebody through like the thick and thin of it all. You know, because you want to be able to find somebody that you can go on that journey with. Like, I'm not negating that fact. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, you know, you also want to find that person that you feel like, okay, I can do this with. And especially like, and I never like to put a time stamp or a time frame on a lot of things, because especially in this day and age, people are having, you know, getting married later, having kids later, with all the technology and all like the better healthcare system that we have going on. Like, well, there's a will,
I
there's
would
a.
disagree. I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't think people are getting. I think people are getting married at a young, young, are getting married later, but it's very insignificant to like how most humans are interacting now. Oh, is that me? Oh,
Yeah,
snap! Hey,
you got a fan.
no, but I'm sorry. I'm just saying. You know, I think we can look at what's going on and look at what's going on. The people who are getting married and who are living a long life are actually the people who are younger, and you just don't see them on the internet no more. They're gone. They're not at the clubs. They're not dealing with this, so the single life. The people who are actually doing the stuff that is right are gone off into the sunset, and the rest of
But
y'all
how
are trying to figure it out.
But also, like, just because you get married or you look like on paper that you have everything set up from a very young age doesn't mean that it's necessarily, you know, is, though. Like, because you never know anybody's journey or story. And just
Hmm.
because, yeah, they got married at a certain age and had kids by X amount of time and whatever, whatever, it doesn't mean that it's been easy, or, you know, it's going to like, I don't want to be like, oh well, it's going to end. Like, no, but like, you never know. Things
Well,
happen, things change.
yeah, and that's why you have to take your chances younger, so you don't have to worry about taking those chances later. If you take your chances younger, you can make mistakes and then be a later in life make another chance. But when you're older and now you decide to be with somebody, you make a mistake and you don't have much chances. You're not you're not like, for men, we can actually make more chances. For men, we can actually take as many chances as we want. But for women, I think you guys definitely have a time limit in which you guys have to really start considering what's most important and settling for people who are really, really
I
out
think
for the betterment of
it's
you.
the word settle. It's very hard
Yeah,
to hear and listen to.
yeah. I think, I, I think, I think what it is that, you know, when you hear settle, like, that's why I wanted us to define it, because settling means, you're dealing with things like, if I settle land, that means I'm dealing with the land. That means I'm willing to deal with the environment. I'm willing to deal with everything that comes along with it. That's good settling. That is good habits. There's nothing wrong with saying that I grew a field in Louisiana and it's hot, but I like to, I like the weather there. I'm going to deal with it. I might not get snow, but it's like, it's the same reason why some people go up north and they have cold winter. They settle there. They're willing to deal with the environment. So that's why it's important to understand what you're settling for and what you're willing to settle for. But do it young. You can't wait until you get old, because I'm telling you, everybody's getting taken off the market.
No, I get that.
Francesca's not going to be on the market too long, Melissa, you're not going to be on the market too long,
Well, no, I get it, because especially because I don't mean to put my age out there, but it's just like, yeah, I just turned 30 in January, and like I was already thinking it beforehand, but it's a landmark year, especially for a female, and it's just like I was thinking about that too. I'm like, okay, look, I want to have that hopefully in the near future with somebody, to settle down, you know, be successful in my own right and have my own individuality and my own purpose besides being somebody's wife and, mom,
Mm.
which is
Oh, you're
really
triggering
important.
me. You're
But
triggering me.
the thing is that, you know, it's a thing that you think about. You're like, okay, I'm this age. I want to be able to do this and this and this, and find somebody that you can do that with. And it
Okay.
makes you think about, also doing things with a purpose now.
Okay. I'm sorry, but you said being somebody else's wife and then doing other things. But I think in reality, a wife should be one of the top things a woman should want to be. You should want to be a wife. I think, of course, we all want jobs, but think about it. When you have kids, you're going to quit your job. You're going to want to take care of the kid. So being a wife and being submissive to a man, or being under the leadership of a man, should be actually one of the things that you should want to have.
If you choose to be with a man, obviously, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, if you want a woman, then, but in terms of life, I don't understand how women can just do that. Like, as a man, at certain point, I want to have kids, and I always wanted to lead a woman, and I wanted to ride off into the sunset, whatever job I did, because no matter what, I could lose my job, but I'd rather have somebody who's there with me. But I don't want to have a woman who just doesn't want to be my wife. She wants to be a part-time wife when it's convenient. Melissa, are you triggered, or what's going on? You're muted.
You're muted.
So, like, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it has to be a team. I think sometimes, like, if the husband's having a bad day, the woman has to be more up there rather than, and vice versa. But if I'm going to be a wife one day, of course I'm going to be a wife, full time. But that's definitely not going to be my number one priority. And it shouldn't be for the husband as well. It's like, you know, I don't look at it as oh, he's my husband and I'm his wife. It's like, no, I'm with my best friend. That's how I see it. And, you know, if you care about your friends, like if you're generally a good person and you could do like that with your husband, right? And then you have extra benefits towards it. That's how a successful relationship can
So from what
proceed.
I'm hearing
But
from
not
you is,
like, oh, I'm going to be a part-time wife. Like, first of all, how can you give me an example like of that? Because I'm like, who is a part-time wife? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna leave my husband with the kids. I'm gonna go out clubbing with my girlfriends in the weekend. Like, what's
yeah,
a part-time wife?
a part-time wife
That
is a
okay?
a part-time wife is a woman who does not take her order seriously. You know, they want to work 70 hours a
Okay.
week. They want to, you know, have a social life and be amongst other people who aren't valuing. You know, they don't want to have a cleanly household. They don't want. They are literally just using the man for his resources and his masculinity. But I want, you said something. You don't want a man who doesn't want to. You would not want to. You would want a man who would say, you know what, I'm a husband, but that's not really the most important thing in my life.
But why would I label it to be like that? Shouldn't it just be
No, like
natural? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna. I don't want the guy who I'm gonna
there's
marry. You know, like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want it to be like, well, she should love me and worship me. I'm a great husband. Like, what? Like,
I just
what?
feel
Okay,
like
bro.
there's like I just feel like there's certain things that you don't even have to say. Like it should just like
Yeah.
what Francesca is saying. It should just come naturally. Like things
Do,
like
do you think do you think that goes back to the first question, which is, communication, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
right?
no,
Like
yeah, I'm
there
not.
are things that go ahead.
But like one of the comments because I saw it. Like I think her name was Madison.
Yeah,
She
Madison.
like she was like, just because you're with somebody doesn't mean like your autonomy goes away. Like you can that's what I meant. Like that's where it's yes, Madison Diane autonomy doesn't disappear once you get in a relationship. You can still be yourself and do the things you want to do. That's exactly what I meant, and that's what I was talking about. And I'm sure that's what Francesca was talking about as well. Like,
No,
yes,
no, no.
it
Francesca was saying it totally different. She was saying that I can be, or both of you guys are saying it differently. I can be a wife, but I can also do other things. You guys
but
were
I just
making it.
feel
You
like
guys were
people are.
separating it.
I just feel like
Like,
people,
yeah, that's what you're
especially
supposed to.
females, are multifaceted, and we have different layers. And it's just
Yeah.
like
Do,
we're not
do you
just
think do
one
you think
thing.
do you think we have roles to play when we get into a relationship? Both of you, Francesca and Melissa. Do you think we have certain
Um,
roles that we should play when we get in a relationship?
marriage or just relationship? What would you say?
Um,
Like, or just general?
a serious relationship, because obviously that's going to lead to marriage.
Okay. So I think at the end of the day, you're gonna have 80-20, right? So you're gonna have 80% of the ideal partner you want, and there's 20% of it you're just not going to like, right? You're gonna have quirks and stuff like that. So, you know, but the number one thing of playing a role in a relationship is just, again, it's just having that compatibility, understanding those 20%, those quirks, and working with them and loving like them as a whole. But you're gonna have to deal with that 80-20. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I see it like I analyze it like that, because you're gonna have like your boyfriend or your girlfriend is never going to be 100% perfect. That's bullshit. Like that's fantasy. You know, they're gonna have certain things. You're just gonna have to get accustomed, as if you're gonna have things. So when
Yeah.
you have playing a role in a serious relationship, it's just learning to love all those certain qualities of them and
Yeah.
building and wanting to grow, like E Black said. You know, we're going to have to play that role, but never will I ever say, well, being a wife is my number one priority. If my husband says, well, you know, you have to be submissive and you can't work 70 hours a week, it's not it's definitely not the 1940s. Like, of course I would love to just like be home and cook and clean and have the kids all day, but that's not reality anymore, too. You have to understand that. But
Why
me
is
just
that?
working or doing other things,
Well, unless you marry somebody that can provide that type of lifestyle where
who's
you don't
rich,
do. But the thing is that
yeah,
especially as years progress, things get more and more expensive, and it's supposed to be teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work,
yeah.
right? So it's like, if especially if you want to you want to have like a bunch of kids and like a really nice lifestyle, a lot of couples, like, unless you're fortunate enough to have, a significant other that can afford you that luxury and that lifestyle of, you don't have to work and you could just be like a stay-at-home dad or a mom if you want to. Like, it's not easy these days
Yes.
to have that type of
What I
lifestyle.
what I'm saying is that those types of lifestyles are not created at an older age. No, they're instantly created at they're more or less likely at an older age. At your younger age, you're building up towards that. So that's why it's better to learn yourself, learn your partner, and figure out what roles you play in it. The whole point of what I'm trying to say is that as a wife, you play a role that is uniquely giving the man an opportunity to be better in life, which is uniquely giving you guys a position to do your best world. I'm not saying that being a wife means that you cannot make money. I'm saying that your wifely duties are uniquely to the household in a special manner. And
But
being a man gives you a greater position in this world when you have a wife.
I feel like everybody's relationship is different, because what you may want out of a relationship, or Clement or Francesco or just anybody off the random street, can be completely different. That's something that you want, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not what everybody, it's not like, you can't generalize to make it seem like it's the umbrella, like that's what everybody wants, because everybody wants different things out of their relationships.
I think there's specific, there's nuances and small general pockets of people that
No,
will
yeah,
want
of
something
course.
different.
Like,
Yeah.
But do you think the general mass of men really just kind of want someone like that, someone that is
submissive
willing
like
to
that.
willing to be cooperative, not submissive? Well, you know what? How do you see submissive? What do you see submissive as when it
Well,
comes
no,
to the relationship?
he like the way that he was described. You had also, E-Black, you had said like the duties of a wife is to be like, in a way, submissive like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
Is that a problem?
I just and I don't know, I just feel like it's like the wording. It's just like, for me, like, you never want to feel like you're in a box and you're just, one thing. That's the part where it's just like,
Yeah.
okay,
I can understand that, but like I
like
said, in
that's the
relationship
reason why
and
that word, it doesn't settle right with me.
what all I'm
Because
saying is
it's I
recognize.
feel like with I just feel like with relationships, it's about give and take, and where one falters, then somebody else is there, or vice versa. Like,
I just think you guys get caught up on
I just
that.
don't feel like somebody should just be like more submissive than the other. I just feel like, I don't understand why you can't communicate and be
Partners.
like partners in a way where it's like you guys can just understand that, where like one has to have more power than the other. Like, I just feel like that's
The
like a
Do
reason
you
why
very
do you think there's any kind of power in submission?
mm,
hmm?
Do you think there's any kind of power in submission? Being
No, there
submissive? Do
is.
you see?
No, there is, because there's a lot of there, and I've when it's come to like me and certain types of relationships, like, I've had to learn to like pick and choose my battles, and just as long as I know that I'm being the one that's like the sane one, or I'm like, okay, whatever, and it's not to like like, sort of like to not appease the situation, just to move on. Like, I feel like it's also just being and taking like ownership of like, just having the peace. And sometimes it can make you feel like a little bit down or degraded, but somebody has to be that type of person, and I've had to learn to like do that.
well, I think. Do you realize that it's better? to understand what is valuable in a relationship? Is your opinion about everything valuable, or is it rather, would you rather give a lot of responsibility to the men? I'll give you an example. When you drive out of town, do you tell your man everywhere to go? Like, are you saying, hey, drive the freeway, take that 101, make the left here, park here, put the 10 cents in there? Or do you just allow your man to put the key in the car and drive, and you guys are, you know that you're going to get to your destination?
Yeah, it looks like you lost her.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Well,
but then that I'm not even talking about that low, because I'm like, well, just as long as I get there safe, like I really don't care, like
well, that's
whatever.
what submission is. That's what submission is that you are allowing somebody else to take the driver's seat. And that's what it is. So it's not a partnership. You're both not driving the car. One person is riding and the other person is allowing the other one to care for the safety and to do all the things necessary to get you to the destination. And you're enjoying the ride going along with it. So as long as you get that in your mind, that submission is not about putting you down as the person who's not driving the car. I'm helping you. I'm putting the gas in the car. I'm doing the things that are necessary to move this relationship forward and get us to a spot that we want to get to. So that's why submission is not a bad thing. You're sitting in the front seat with all the popcorn and all the treats, and you got the music blasting. You're doing the things that you want to do, but you're not taking the risks of, or the things of the role that a man is doing on the road. You're not looking left and right. You're not looking up and down. All you're doing is just being in your natural space, free as a bird. Well, not free as a bird, but just
Francesca,
relaxing
you want to chime in on this?
femininity.
I don't mind that though. I just feel like it's semantics at the end of the day.
It's not, because you're having a problem, because you're saying partnership and you're saying equality and you're saying that I want to do this, but you're not really recognizing what is most valuable. The whole picture is most valuable. You both can't do
No,
the
I
same
know.
thing.
I just mean that, like, I hope that, like, you know, even though, like, you can have that type of relationship that, you know, like, you're respected and your opinions are respected and your mind is respected. That's the only thing that I want to make sure that I get out there.
Oh yeah. There's always gonna in any relationship there needs to be respect.
Of course. I mean, a solid relationship is built off of respect.
Yeah.
So just because one person is submissive, one person is taking the lead, it doesn't mean that one shot should be respected and one shot should not be respected. There's equal respect on both sides. Like both have their parts, and that's the whole thing. It's kind of because you hear the word submissive, or because a lot of women actually hear the word submissive, they think like that means my opinions and thoughts are going to be drowned out. And it's
No.
kind of like, it's like we're opposite sides of the same coin. Both sides are equally as valuable. We just play different roles.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you guys.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. You know,
No, it
growing up in an
does.
Italian household, my mother, you know, used to say to me, when a group of men are talking, you gotta get up and leave the room. Never ask how much he makes at the track, or always you have to make the plate of food first for the man, you know, the husband. So there's submissive, you can have one more so than the other in a relationship, but I'm thinking as being submissive as doing honoring the father, you know, or honoring the father of your children, honoring your husband to a point where you can't even eat in the same like table as them. Like that's old school. That's like old school Italian stuff. So, you know, at 2020, you know, if I were to just get up and leave if a group of men are talking because my husband would prefer that and that's the right way, I think that's kind of like messed up. Does that make sense? when it comes to like that. You know, it was normal, especially at one point. My mom even taught me that, but now it's just not a.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
and
normal
I think there's certain little
anymore.
nuances. Yeah, there's certain little nuances that obviously don't
Yeah,
need to happen as much. Um,
I disagree. I think everything in it is still valid today. It's just more and more people are not willing to do them. You know, and I think more and more people aren't willing to like. I'm sorry. You know, I'm married. You know, my wife actually loves to do the work of the house. She gets mad at me if I say, "Hey, I'm gonna do laundry." She's like, "Oh, why would I want you to do the laundry? Like you've been at work all day." You get what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that, you know, women are just now like they've just wanted to go by wayside. Like if you ever have you ever gone to one of your friends' house who are married and their house is just junky? Who does that reflect poorly on?
women.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's always going to be the woman's role in that situation, right? Now, if the house is junk and you see a guy, her husband walk up and he got a dustpan and he got the apron on, he's like, "Baby, you got to cook," and she's just sitting on the couch, top japping off. So there are roles that are satisfactory in relationships. You know what I mean? There's certain you like me. I like I said, like as a man, you know, I find paying the bills more satisfactory than me splitting the bills. You get what I'm saying? I find it better that when I go to a restaurant and I pay for my wife's food, I find those things to be satisfactory to me because I'm in my role. Some women want to do both. They want to be able to pay. It's like, come on now. So I think a lot of women have just lost the fine art of what femininity is, and they're not willing to settle because they want to be able to experience things that are just not in their role order or space, and then it ends up being more sex. So I'm sorry, Melissa. I think is mad at me.
Yeah.
No,
Melissa's
I'm
like
just
all out of frame. She's like,
She's holding her head. She's just like,
she's,
I can't deal with this guy
she's like,
anymore.
all the thoughts in my head are so heavy that I can't.
All right, real
I'm
quick.
just listening because I'm just like I understand like where you're coming from, but like I said before, like everybody's relationship is different. So what you deem acceptable or not acceptable for a female for you, like another guy would not feel that way. It's just it depends. Like everybody's relationship and dynamic is different.
It's just a roll of the dice trying to find guys like that. And more than likely, when you find guys like that, they're not worth the value that you value.
Yeah, because there's going to be a certain trade off with a guy
Yeah.
like that. And you have no idea what it's going to be. But if you're just tuning in, welcome to CKQ Podcast. I'm your host, Clement. Welcome to the panel. And we are going to move on to our video. So if you guys can mute your mics for a quick second. And we are going to do this.
Now to the segment we like to call So They Say. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, and it looked like the fellas had a lot to say about it. Finding love is not that easy, right? And it's especially hard in this economy. And guess what? Many women say they are finding it very hard to find a man who makes as much as they do. A study by Cornell University found that the country's declining marriage rate is due to the lack of financially eligible bachelors. Women are actually outpacing men with education, and this is changing the age-old mentality that men are the breadwinners. In turn, the gig or small gigs economy and lack of good jobs out there have left the ladies single and disgruntled. And researchers say they are seeing a trend of women dating down, which means, you know, a man who
dating down.
Really? All right, listen, it was in the prompt, right?
Really? Who wrote that?
I mean, who I say all that.
Jeez.
Disgruntled. This is just the reality of it. So women, you know, we're more educated now, and I think that we're furthering our education. So with that being said, we're going to hold off on the baby making. We're going to hold off until we get that great job, really career driven. And I don't think there's anything wrong with hoping that there's someone either on your level or higher than you.
So, okay.
Go ahead, Love Doctor.
All right. So before, right, it was okay when the man made more money to be the one to buy everything, to do, you know, treat you and all this other kind of stuff. And now that you make more money, you can't be that one, right? You can't be the one to pay for the meal and because you're dating down.
I hate that. Yeah.
What is that about? It wasn't called dating down.
Right.
Yeah.
When men were the breadwinners and all that.
It's called taking care
Now
of
it's
your family.
dating down.
Yeah.
What is that?
I have a feeling though that some of the issue here is that it may be the psyche of the men that when they make less, they are insecure and it can
This
affect their
report is about
relationship.
the women complaining about the fact that,
they don't
now
have.
I got to get
So
a guy.
yeah, I
that
guess my
makes
question would
money
be:
than me.
so are these women expecting the men to cover everything? They want those breadwinners, so they.
That's what it sounds like to me by this particular study. I have to date down now. What is that? You wanted to make more money, you make more money. What's the if there is a responsibility with making more money? First of all, I don't believe in any of it. But if there's a responsibility that comes with making more money, accept it. You wanted to make more money. Right. You know, are you going to find many men out there that makes as much as you do?
And my point is, so now you're going to, because we hear so much about women that are like, oh, there's nobody out there. There's no one out there. I can't find love. I'm getting too old. Now you're going to sacrifice the fact that you could find that love because the man's not making that much money and you're going to date down.
All right. They're wrapping us. I have a feeling this is going to be our morning rush extra.
I
We
can
have
do
a
bad by
lot
myself.
left to say. All right, time now, 5:11.
Okay. You can unmute.
Yikes.
All right. Back to the next topic. Should income matter when dating for long term? I think, who haven't I started with? I think E-Block. I haven't started with you, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
Start us off strong.
I would think that it's dependent on the age group. When you're talking younger ages, of course, you know, you're both working your first jobs or you're getting experience. Those things don't really matter as much. As you get older in age, later 20s is more about the mentality of an individual, because a lot of times you are truly finding yourself, or you're in a situation to where you're building experience towards your next VP job, or you know, your next, you know, situation. But when you're older, of course, I think at that moment you found behavioral patterns that either the person is making money or they're not, and whether those traits are you're willing to deal with in the relationship. I think women, of course, definitely should consider somewhat income, but I think masculinity is also more important. But in terms of men, we don't care about your income anyway. So I would almost say that this is really a woman's question. And for a woman, I would say either if you're young, just start sooner. Or if you're older, maybe consider behavioral patterns that may be red flags towards laziness and and poverty.
Okay, so what you say younger? So what would you consider being older? When we talk dating,
I would say about 32, 33 is probably, you know.
hold on. We got someone that wants to chime in. CJ, how you doing, my man?
What's cracking, man? You all right?
What's going on?
Pretty good. He's another YouTuber. Actually, he actually makes a lot of videos for nurses. So if there's anyone out there that's curious of being a nurse, check out CJ Kyle's great content.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And hello to all the people on the panel. Hope you're having a good night. But as far as the video that I saw, I think this is why. One, I think they're 100% correct, because we are in a state now where a lot of men are lazy. Thank God for people like Kevin Samuels and Anton Daniels, because more men are starting to wake up. I love the fact that women are hypergamous. I love it. And as a nurse, I see it every day. As I told you before, Clement, nurses are some of the most hypergamous women on the planet because they make so much money, but it's hard to find a man that matches what they make or make more than them. So as a nurse, you know what I'm saying? I absolutely love it. And this is why being high value matters, as much as they like to say that it doesn't, but it absolutely does.
What would you consider for people out in the audience or the ladies on the panel? What would you consider someone high value?
As far as what, like a man or a woman high value?
Man.
To me, in my opinion, I pretty much follow the standards of how Kevin Samuel said his definition. Someone that is making at least six figures a year, someone who has the network, someone who who is approved by other high value guys. Me personally, I'm not high value yet. I'm almost at that six figure mark. Had I put in the overtime, I probably could have, but I just work minimum hours. But now that I'm working 60 hours per week, I most likely will hit that 60, that six figure mark. But that's not all that it takes. You need character, integrity. You need to be the best version of yourself. So I think a lot of people get that mixed up as well.
But you said something that kind of got me. You said that most men aren't working. I think you said.
I said most men are lazy.
What
a majority of men.
Are we talking 50-50 men? What range?
I would say I would go so far as say it's 70-30.
I would have went a little bit lower. I would probably said 60-40, but yeah, it's generally the same thing.
I mean, statistically, that's not true when we're at like what, an 8% unemployment rate.
Okay. Unemployment rate, but doesn't mean they're actually pushing themselves.
When I say like working, you can work, and it's the difference. You can still work and be lazy.
Okay. I just reject this notion that men are I think there are some groups of pockets of men, because society is being moved forward no matter what. Men are pushing society forward. So when you say there's a lot of men that are lazy,
certain men
yes,
are pushing society forward. Not majority of men. Certain men are pushing society forward, and most of society is living off what those certain men are doing.
I would just respectfully disagree. I think there's a lot of men who are doing the work and who are in their best positions. And, I think the stigma that they put on men that, we're all lazy or we're not. There's different stages and we all contribute. But
let's not get too sidetracked. Let's not get too sidetracked. Before you got to go back real quick. CJ, you wanna chime in on the question? Should income matter when dating for long term?
Absolutely. Ladies, I mean, first of all, you got to know what kind of life that you want to live. I think that's the most important question. What type of life do you want as a female? Do you want to pay half the bills, or do you not want to pay half the bills? Do you want to live a life of luxury? Do you not want to live a life of luxury? And I think a lot of women are ashamed to say that they want to live a life of luxury and do nothing. But it's not nothing. To live that type of life and to be with that type of man, you have to put in work in other areas. Your money means nothing to him. It's about your femininity, your beauty, what peace you can bring him when he got to go out there and work and fight and everything like that to build up his kingdom. What peace are you bringing him within the home? Yeah, income should matter. To women, I think you'd be a fool for it not to. Why do you think there's so many broke, unhappy single women? I'm working with a whole bunch of women right now that hate being here because they man is broke. My chick don't work. So here's what it is.
Francesca, Melissa, do you guys disagree, agree, thoughts?
I agree. Absolutely. I think income matters.
Me too. I mean,
I
it
agree
does.
with everything that CJ says.
It does.
Do you feel like a lot of
what?
Do you feel like a lot of society makes you guys think or feel that you shouldn't want a man with money?
I mean, because I don't.
No, I think
it does.
society makes
The minute you say like I want to find somebody that is like is on that path that you know is on that path and is going to get there. I'm not saying that you don't want to put the hard work into yourself either. Like to make sure that you have something to bring to the table, and I'm not even talking about just like financially, just in general. But the thing is that also it's just like especially as you get older, like only young for so long, and it's like after like you want to be with somebody that at the end of the day is going to that you could feel safe financially. And a lot of times when you're younger, it's not always the case, especially when you're in your 20s and stuff like that. So it's like it's something, especially like when you get older, you need to think about, and to be with somebody that is going to be able to provide that for you, or at least you guys can work together for that goal.
Clement, can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, a lot of the times too, and I think a lot of the society they like to tend to make women feel bad for wanting that, because you hear a lot of the rappers, like the female rappers, glorify getting a 6, 7, 8-figure dude and everything like that. So I think it kind of places like a negative stereotype on it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting that. And plus, on top of that, I want to just let the ladies know, if you do want that kind of man, you are going to have to compete, and y'all gonna have to stop making that word such a negative word. You're going to have to compete for him. Love, they say love is unconditional. That's a lie. There's no such thing as unconditional love. Only thing that may be unconditional is a love from a mother to a child. But
or puppies.
Right. But even that can be shaken. So no, there's no such thing as unconditional love. And if you do want that lifestyle, which is perfectly fine, you have to compete. Point blank, period. And there's a new batch of 18-year-old women coming out every single year. And that's pretty much it.
But high value men are a much smaller commodity than good looking women, really.
Yeah.
Which is why I preference what I said by saying looking into men who are masculine, because you're either not going to find the men that make the money that we're talking about, or you're going to have to settle with men who fit your values and who are you're willing to work with to go along in life with.
Yeah, you have to date on your level. I personally think that if you are an average woman, you should be fine with dating an average man. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. But when you start, like I said, if you want in the beginning, as a young person, if you want to make a lot of money with a man, start younger. Y'all work with each other, and then he starts getting the VP job. He starts getting more money, the raises. You start getting the raises. Y'all are putting the money in the pot by 35, 45. Y'all both have money, savings. You're both living the lifestyles that you want to live. If you're starting later, then you're going to have to be considerate about mentality of a man.
Yeah, I truly think a lot of females have horrible dating choices, especially at a young age. Awful dating choices, because they're led by their emotions and what makes them feel good. Putting in the work doesn't feel good all the time. It really doesn't feel good at all, because it's uncomfortable to be in that position. So at an early age, when you led by your emotions, you tend to do stupid stuff like get pregnant by the neighborhood dope man at 21, and then get mad when you can't have a high value man at 35 and he doesn't want you. You know what I'm saying? So like, you have to, like, if I had a daughter, I would tell her early at 28, matter of fact, earlier than that, at like 14, like, you need to decide what kind of man that you want. Do you want to live this life that your father is providing for you and your mother? Yes or no? So that's pretty much all I had, man.
CJ, you're the man, bro.
Hey, man, you the man. Listening, I'm gonna get back to these patients. So
yeah, listen, I appreciate you stopping in. I'll definitely tune into your channel whenever I can.
For real, you show me love, man. So I just wanted to come show you some love, bro.
I appreciate you.
All right,
have a good night. Y'all have a good night.
Take care. Awesome.
CJ said we some bums, man.
Yeah.
CJ said
Listen,
we ain't got
me
no.
personally, ladies, honest. Okay, so we're gonna
CJ.
sidetrack. We're gonna sidetrack a little bit. How do you guys feel about the diversity of men here out here in the dating market? Like, do you think there are a good options and or pick in men out here? You could be honest.
I'm just very picky. That's my problem. And
Okay.
shouldn't be picky. Where it comes to like personality wise. So
Okay.
I think there's definitely. I think there's definitely.
Do they need to have an
flavor
income level?
Any type of man out.
Is there an income level?
I feel like it does matter, but not really. Because like I think we're like what I wanted to say before, just a note. I think society doesn't really. It's more so like you can't date a guy who works in trade, or you're only dating a mechanic when they make a lot
which I
of
find
money.
hilarious because the trade makes good money.
Like how much.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I know, but like that's I think that's
you could be like a lot of garbage men make a lot of money.
Bank.
Yeah. And it's
So
not
I'm like,
only
that's
that,
why
the
you
benefits.
can't really judge that way because
they
you
got
never
benefits, man.
Yeah.
They get
A lot of people don't understand the benefit, the calculation into it. If you work at a job that does not give you retirement, then you can make $100,000 a year, but you're going to have to supplant your own income later on in life. But if you work at a job that's making $65,000 a year and they're giving you double 2-to-1 payments on IRA, they're contributing. You have great healthcare benefits to where you're not paying as much out of pocket. Those things are,
that's what matters.
Yeah. And then if you work 20 years at the job, think about the compound interest that you're putting into yourself, the money that goes along with that. Yeah, you make $60,000 for 20 years, but imagine what 60,000 times 20 years is when you're putting money back into yourself. Sustainability. So I think that's the hidden art, like with Francesca or with I think Francesca was saying, right? Or was that Melissa? I think both of you guys are saying the same thing.
Melissa, I don't think we got your answer on should income matter when dating for long term.
I said yes, I agreed.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, I was asked. I gave my opinion.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right, my bad. Well, I mean, I guess we all pretty much agree here. Income should matter.
Yeah.
Like
more to women, though.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely more to women than to men, because I think most guys we come into the relationship understanding that we're gonna have to work, and most guys want to. That's kind of our driving force in life. It's like if we can work to provide for the people that we care about, we get fulfillment from that. So when it's like you're told, especially growing up, when you're told things should be 50-50, that kind of like, that demotivates a lot of guys, which is why going back to what CJ was saying, I think there are lazier guys nowadays because we have a group of men that are growing up saying this is a 50-50 partnership kind of lifestyle that you can be living. Yeah. So now they're not incentivized to push themselves to become the best version of themselves. You know what I mean?
But I also don't believe in the doom and gloom. I think, when you look at the stat, there's enough of us out here who are actually doing the stuff. There's just probably, yeah. I think it's like saying if I was to tell you that only 70% of men are working and they don't have children and they're saving money, you'd be like, dang, only 60% or 70% of men are only doing that, and I'll be like, yes. That means 7 out of 10 men are actually doing good work. So, it's all dependent upon how you look at life. And I think that's why I was saying earlier about people getting married earlier. That's what happens. People who get married earlier are off the map. You can't see them. You don't understand what they're doing because they just don't care about everything that you're caring about right now.
Yeah.
So you can't physically see growth and betterment in the world.
Yeah. Most of the time, people in happy relationships don't care about really what's going on outside of the world, outside of their world. Yeah. But yeah, moving on to the next question, because I know E Black, I feel like you're about to start another rant. Next question.
Wow. Okay. That's not.
All right. When dating to find love, which sex has a harder time?
Wait, what?
When dating to find love, which sex has a harder time?
I think men have it harder.
Yes, they do.
Yeah?
Men have it
Explain.
harder, absolutely.
I just feel like I mean, I know like women, we can like overanalyze things, but then I also feel like men have like this inner struggle where in their minds because they feel like they have to be a certain way because that's what society expects them to be. And it's like if they're not, that way, then it's like deemed being wrong. And then I mean, I've spoken, and I don't know, because I've spoken to a lot of guys where they're like, oh, I don't get females or whatever. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know, like, how to pick up on certain cues. Like, and I don't want to come off as being a creeper. But then if I don't, then it's like, oh, the girls are like always telling me, like, oh, I want a man that knows what he wants and is going to go after. And then when I do, then like women don't know how to take it, which can happen, which happens a lot. I feel like.
Fran?
I feel like it's more actually physical sometimes because, especially if you look at online dating, and that's like a big thing, especially this past year and a half during COVID, everyone was doing the online. You just judge a photo. And I think men, it's so like I don't think that they're as picky as women. That makes sense. But the woman, like, they won't really swipe right on them or match with them because the woman would think, oh, well, he's not my type. He's not what I'm looking for. Like, they have, like, this, like, fantasy sometimes what they want. And, like, come on, we gotta be real. Like, it's not really, it's fantasy, like, how they want to, like, view their type. But that's how I see it. I think it all starts with physical attraction. And I think women are, again, very much, I admit it, I'm very picky, whereas men aren't. So that's why I think it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because you want to give him a chance. It could be the best guy for you. But, like, it's always, that's how I see it. So.
Okay.
So to get it straight, Francesca, you think men have it harder or women?
I think men have it harder.
Okay.
For dating and love because, again, I just think it's harder because women are very picky.
That was good.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of heard what you were saying. I'm sorry. I think women have it harder.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
I think you guys have no clue. You guys have no clue what you guys want. You guys have zero. You guys have the longest list. You guys have the most emotional baggage. You guys, for men, we can actually pick up an 18-year-old and fall in love tomorrow. It's not that hard for a man to actually find a woman that they align with and who are willing to deal with it. It's harder for a woman to get out of their own way and find men that are readily available in their face. Stop getting online. Stop ducking the guy behind the counter. Stop. There are readily people who are readily available for a lot of women, but like even Francesca said, she's picky. How many men are? I mean, like men are picky, but we're not picky.
We're not picky. We're not picky.
So it's harder for women because women have more emotional baggage and emotional just things that y'all go through that are just harder that put it harder for you guys. You guys are literally waiting for a mystical figure that will walk through the door with glowing light that will sweep you off your feet. Men do not believe that way. So it's hard for you guys to actually commit to a relationship. You guys are also modern. Well, a lot of women are modernized to where they don't even want to be in a role that men like. So how are they going to find a man that wants them or willing to commit to them or willing to show the best of them? So, I cut it down this time, okay?
No, dude. I love everything you're saying. Really, I really do. But in my opinion, I'm more on the side of E Black, but it's a little bit different. What I see is women have to get their life a little on track sooner than men do. Because when you guys have a biological time clock that we as guys don't. So by the time you guys are hitting your biological time clock, that's when most guys are just finally getting their stride going in life. As we get older in life as men, we just get better with time. So for women at a younger age, where it's kind of you don't really know what's going on in the world yet, you don't really know what kind of men you like yet. You're really just trying to understand dating. That's where you really have to try to find a good partner to stick to and settle with. But that's the hard part because right now in this day and age, it's kind of you're told you can do anything. You're a strong, independent woman. You can become the VP and then also have this and that, and you can't really have it all. Life is about choices and trade offs, and unfortunately for women, it's a lot harder because you guys have a much shorter time period to find that partner than guys do. And then there's also guys out there that will lie to you. There's guys out there that will waste your time. So the vetting like you have to learn the vetting process. Then you have to start dating around without running up your body count. That's also a thing because you then emotionally start kind of damaging yourself by jumping from guy to guy too soon, too quickly. But I don't know. That's why I say women have it much harder than men do. Fran, because you were on the opposite end of that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that point of view. But see, for me, like I say, all depends on the person, and I'm very picky, not that I have like unrealistic expectations, just picky with that personality. So, that's what I was trying to say. Whereas men, if they meet a girl they find attractive and, the girl, it's hard.
Francesca's gonna find that opposite attracts person. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
What?
You're gonna find that opposite attracts person because you're so focused on the personality that it's probably blocking you to where you're gonna find somebody who's just so opposite of what you want that it's gonna be so attractive.
Opposites attract.
Yeah, I don't know. I've dated it all. I've dated guys older than me, extremely older. I've dated, different nationalities, ethnicities. I tried it all, and I just wanted to see what I liked. And there's certain things I like, and it has to have a je ne sais quoi when it comes to personality because I love humor. I love to laugh. I love to have a, like a
I
conversation.
love
with
that
love.
word.
If I meet a guy who just,
Her favorite word. It's her favorite word.
That was good.
So is Clement funny?
but like that's how I see it.
Come on.
Clement
Yeah, he's funny.
Look at me. Come on.
Of course.
And Melissa, when are you gonna share the treats? Come
But that's
on
what
now.
I'm saying. But I think it's harder for guys.
We all hungry, yeah, girl.
Listen. I haven't had dinner yet. This has to do for right now.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm kind of.
I was trying to not be rude because I was like, we're on this podcast right now. I don't want to eat anything, but I was like, I need to keep my energy up.
Keep the energy up. That's you can't answer these questions if you don't have your energy up.
Yep.
That's all
my
right.
hair is up and everything. I had a change.
I like that. All right. We are going to go on to the final question of the panel. All right. It's a throwaway one. Your partner going clubbing with single friends shouldn't warrant jealousy.
Oh, look, I'm going to just mute myself for this whole part.
Really?
Why though? Why?
I don't know. Melissa, start us off. It shouldn't warrant jealousy.
The only thing when it comes to that is that why do you have to go by yourself? Why can't you just go as a couple to hang out with those people? Like if your friends can become, you know, my friends and vice versa. Like, I mean, I feel like if you're in a committed relationship and you're very like comfortable and you know that you can trust that person, you're like, oh well, sure. But it's like, why can't you guys just all hang out then? And like is it an issue that you don't want your significant other to be there? Is that because then that's an issue as well.
We're definitely going to circle back. I want to hear everyone's opinion. So you're more on the side that if it shouldn't be an issue.
I'm just
so you agree.
I actually went through something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like one
Explain,
of my
please.
one of my guy friends that like I and we were just friends. Like
platonic friends.
Oh, that's gonna be another question. We'll bring that up, but after she's done.
Yes. Like yes, and he has a girlfriend. We were like talking, like just catching up or whatever, and then he wanted to go and have like a couple of drinks or whatever. And I had asked him like, "Oh, is your girlfriend coming?" Because I knew he had a girlfriend, and then I was like, I had asked him when we got there. I was like, "Oh, how come your girlfriend didn't come?" or whatever. And then he was like, and he told me, oh, and don't worry, nothing's gonna like, I'm not gonna try anything stupid or whatever. But I just thought it was weird that he didn't even tell her. And that's when I found out, like that day, and I was just like,
platonic friends, huh?
And that's that's where like it was weird for me because I was like, if you guys are together, I wouldn't have minded if, you know, she came along and we could have like just all hung out like friends. Like I would like, so then that's the part where I was just like,
I think he found a reason to.
No. Fran, you want to chime in on this before we get to the platonic friends thing?
Before we grill her.
Grill me?
Yes.
Well, I didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily.
Yeah, go, Fran. Nanny named Fran.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't think there should be a problem. You know, if your boyfriend wants to go out with the boys for like a club, whatever. You know, I think you need to sometimes have some space. You know, I don't think someone should always be on top of you. You know, maybe one weekend you do go, or one weekend you don't. You know, you just want to stay home and watch Netflix. I don't know, but I don't think it's a problem.
So now you going out with your single girlfriends to a club. You think he should have any reason to be jealous? Any kind of jealousy or any kind of?
Oh, I thought like you meant
no.
like if they were single friends of the opposite sex. That's where I thought you were talking about. Like,
what do you mean? Say that again, Melissa.
When you like the question was asked, I thought like in my head that you meant like if they had single friends that like from the opposite sex that they were hanging out with, like if I'm like there, he wants to go hang out with his guy friends. I like that's not a problem, even if they're single or not. I don't care.
Going clubbing. No. Okay.
Because if I don't care go out with my friends, if we're like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my girlfriends, like, and it doesn't even have to be like clubbing. It could just be like anything to go to a restaurant.
No, but that's why I said clubbing. That's why I said clubbing. Because I think
for bar to bar.
Yeah. I don't know. I think most guys will have a problem with this.
If your girl goes out with her like single friends to go to the club.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
are you afraid that something's going to happen or like a guy is going to hit on them or something like that? Is that why you guys would have an issue with it?
Even if the best way I could say this, all right, let me say it this way. I actually heard this analogy. Shout out to Fresh and Fish for that. if I had a Lamborghini, the best looking Lamborghini in the world with the best locking system, I would not park it in the ghettos just to have the locking system tested. Meaning, I don't really want, yes, I could trust my girl all I want, but she's still walking to a club. I know guys. They're still gonna try to grope her, still gonna try to talk to her, still possibly roofie. There's a lot that can happen in a club. No one goes to the club to say, "Hey, I just want to meet friends and chat."
Oh well, I also, but that's like a age thing because me, I don't go to clubs like that anymore. Like I
Well, no, but that's why I stated the question the way I did. Should should it be an issue? Does it warrant any kind of jealousy? Do you guys understand that though? Do you understand?
no, I know. Like it's like
I
also
understand.
like no, I understand, especially your analogy. Like I completely understand and get that.
Yeah, because most, I think a lot of times, we as guys are made to. We can't really express that too much because then it'll be deemed controlling, or we're that guy that's trying to control everything that you do. But in reality, it's like, no, if you're going to a club, we know most guys. If you're going to a bar, we know most guys. You're putting yourself in a bad place, and I don't know. It's just it's hard to say that, especially nowadays. But Black.
Uh, First of all, if your single friends want to go out, then they need to figure out a better environment to go out. They're trying to attract other men. There is no situation in which, let's be honest, we're all grown adults here. We all know what goes on in a club. The club is not a fun play. I'm sorry, the club has not been fun for a long time. You're staring at each other. You're listening to music that you've heard a thousand other times while a DJ yells. The drinks are overpriced. The chicken wings are terrible. There is nothing about a club that is enjoyable unless you're 19, 20 years old and
That's what
trying.
I'm saying. It's an age thing.
So if you have single friends that want to go in this atmosphere and be sexual advertisement to other men, then you're gonna have to put your foot down as a man and say no. But however, I will preference this. Sometimes you have college buddies that come into town. Yeah, go out to a bar. Go out to, a lounge, a pool table. Go drink a martini. That's fine. But the fact of clubbing is a specific act. It is when your single girlfriends are trying to make themselves more attractive to majority of men as possible. That's not going out. Going out is going out, enjoying life and maybe seeing a movie, maybe doing certain things. That's going out. Clubbing means I'm trying to make myself as attractive to as many men as possible in one night. That is not happening in a relationship, not my relationship, and I'm hopefully not anybody who would value relationship, because all you're doing, like he was saying, all you're doing is, like he's saying, you're trying to have somebody test your car lock. But not only that, you're testing somebody throwing a rock at it. I'm very protective of mine. Okay.
No, that's a good thing. No, I yes, because there's a difference between going out and clubbing. So I understand that difference. I just wanted to make sure, like, you meant clubbing, like actually going club, because people like can say clubbing as just going out to a bar, and it's a bar cannot, like a bar.
Nobody says clubbing
No,
going
no.
out to one
Yeah,
bar.
but like,
When
so,
you say clubbing, when I hear clubbing, I hear the sexiest dress.
That stuff.
You
to be
know.
honest, even when I did used to, like, I never used to like the clubs anyways. Because it's like
Yeah.
what everybody's like, when everybody's drinking, you really don't meet anybody of substance anyways. I never used to like it, even when I did go, because I felt like, oh, I'm young, I should go clubbing. I feel like I should just do it, because just to say that I did it. But like after a while, it gets old. and you don't want to be a part of that type of crowd anymore. Like for me, I'm like, okay, like if my friends want to go out, like we go out to eat dinner and have like a couple of drinks, or maybe go to like a bar to hang out and have a couple of drinks. But then after a while, like I'm just like about that. Like I just like you still want to hang, but it's like a part of me, I just want to go back home.
Yeah, as you get older, home becomes very fun.
Yes,
Sitting on the couch is like
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. And it becomes and when you have a man at home, it's even better.
well, in my opinion, I'll say a woman, but hey, to each his own.
Pause.
Gotcha.
Listen, you need to retract that in your wife.
Okay, hey, look. Clement has been getting me because I've been getting on his hairline for like 3 episodes now. He's been killing me.
Hey, got to get you back.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I could take it. I could take that one. That's
fair. Okay, going back before we'll end it off on this last one. Do you guys think men and women can be strictly platonic friends? Melissa, let's start with you.
Yes, no.
Okay, because I don't want to sound like naive, because a lot of times people, I've seen like relationships where they're just platonic, like between like, but it could also go both ways, like having, like there's also different types of relationships, like you, gay, like lesbian.
No, I'm talking heterosexual. I'm talking heterosexual men and women. Do you think they could strictly be platonic friends?
I've seen it being done, so yes, I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it, but I've seen it being done, where like they've been like platonic friends for years. I'm not saying I don't know. I've seen it being done. I can't get into the psyche of them if they've like ever thought about being with, because you don't know. But I'm just saying, like I've seen it.
Do you think it can? Do you think it's possible though? Do you think it's possible? That's the question though. Do you think it's possible for a man and woman?
For me, I can be friends with the guy, and it can be platonic. For the guy's part, I'm not too sure about that, because I can't think. But like for me, I can answer the question for myself. I would be able to be platonic friends with a person from the opposite sex.
Fran, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think platonic is definitely a real thing, and I've seen it. I've witnessed it, and I've had friends, just guy friends, strictly just friends, and going out like, hey, Fran, you want to go grab something to eat? All right, let's go. No sexual attraction, no nothing. It's a thing, but you just can't be friends or platonic friends with someone you do like. That's
exactly.
If you find them attractive, you're like, oh, I have a huge crush on them, it'll never be platonic.
Let me ask you this: Do you think guys are horn dogs?
Do
you think guys are horn dogs?
Yes, absolutely. At a point, but when there's times where like guys just do not see you as like sexual, you know what I'm saying? Like obviously, everyone's always gonna think of, oh, I wonder how it would be if you would sleep with them, right?
Okay,
a daydream.
So you're saying you think guys are horn dogs, but somehow they'll cut the line when it says friendship, when it becomes just friendship.
Well, when it comes, yeah, I do, because I have friends who talk about women, like, oh, I'm so like, they'll say such like really messed up things, and like, damn, bro, like they think I'm one of the guys. I'm like, I really don't want to hear your sex life, but when it comes to like two people, a platonic relationship, if they just do not see it, there's no physical attraction, they just don't see anything to escalate, then no. So that's how I see it.
Okay, so I see the delusion is real here. Let's just be honest with you guys. Most men do not have time for female relationships. We just don't have the time. You guys are too emotional. You guys need a certain type of activity to be around you guys at a consistent basis. There's no way that a man would value his time, or a man that values his time should be hanging out with women he does not find attractive. It's better for you guys because women get to have a masculine man around. That's good. You guys can sip some wine and not have a man around. I mean, have a man around and not do anything and just ride off into the sunset for a couple of weeks, a month. For us men, I can't have that much feminine energy around me unless I'm being proactive in the situation. So with all due respect, I think you guys should double check some of your men friends, and also you might want to consider dating them.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level.
Promoting from the friend zone.
Promote from the friend zone.
Promote from the friend zone. Yeah.
To be honest, I even though I know I would be able to be platonic friends with somebody, but it's just I also agree with you guys because I've had like a lot of guy friends that are like, guys always think that they have a chance.
Yeah.
And the thing
they'll wait
like,
10 years, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. And I used to like sometimes when I was like in high school, like, and even till this, I'm like, I've had to like, keep my distance. Cause like when you start like realizing like, oh, and then you're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to, work out. Just being friends. You could just, I'm okay, but if you can't be friends with me because whatever, then that's fine.
I'll say this: a male friend to a female is when you can be in a bra and just nothing goes down. Like the same way y'all women get undressed to each other is the same way you should be able to get undressed with a man. If you're not willing to cross those boundaries, then you may want to consider that guy off limits for a platonic friendship.
Huh. That's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. If you can't wear a sports bra around the guy, you're gonna have like let's be honest with you, Francesca. I wouldn't even put you and a guy in the same room for longer than an hour. No.
You and your friend. Let me ask you guys this.
What is that supposed to mean?
Let me ask you guys this. Wait, hold on. For the ladies, have you ever been out on a date with a guy that you really didn't find like you didn't see any kind of sexual attraction towards? You have?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he tried to kiss me at the end of the day, and I was just like.
So I would say that's a difference, and that's why I say guys are horn dogs because we only go out with people we're trying to sleep with. There's no guy has ever swiped right on a dating app to say, hey, I just want to grab a drink with this person and then call it a night after that. The whole sole driving purpose is always, I'm trying to get laid after this. I'm trying to grab some cheeks. That's it.
And I approve that message.
Like legit. That's why the whole idea is like, oh, guys and girls can be friends. It's like two single platonic male and heterosexual male and females cannot be friends. Cannot.
And if you are, you're wasting your time, man. You're giving your masculine energy, and she's just gonna take it.
Well, I mean, listen, you can't blame women because obviously, like, the more attractive a woman, the more guys are going to flock towards her. And it's obviously like women are far pickier than men are. And if a guy is not making his move or he's not assertive enough, then he's pretty much a girlfriend at that point. And he's going to be treated as such, meaning you're going to go out with him and guys will constantly keep thinking, oh man, she wanted to go out with me today to grab lunch. Maybe she's going to want to.
Next thing you know, you're in a 1-bedroom apartment trying to move her out into her new place. You're washing her car with her.
Yeah. You're doing, and then her boyfriend stops by while you're doing all that.
Stop.
And you keep washing the car while they go inside the house real quick.
You're picking her up from the club late night. Oh, thank you. I was so drunk. It's like, come on, stop. Let it go. It's more beneficial to just let it go. Let it go.
What do you guys look a little mortified? What do you think?
No, I mean, to be honest,
it makes sense.
It does, because I know, like, because in a perfect world you would want that to be able to, because even though, like I've said, like I've seen it being done, but I've had my issues when it comes to that. I'm not going to lie. Whereas, like, I knew that I could be friends, but then it's just like the guy who that's why, like, us being friends didn't work out. So I'm just saying, like, I know everybody's relationship is different, but even though I've seen it being done, but you don't know what's going on in deep down inside that person's head. You really don't unless you talk to them.
The best way I've heard it is someone said.
But what you're saying is, like, I will say that, it is true.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to what you guys are saying as well, because I've seen that as well.
This is the guy's point of view. Like that's the reality of it. That's also kind of why I like shows like this where I kind of bring men and women on, just because we actually get to hear each other's side. And I would say a lot of women haven't really heard much of the guy's side in a very long time. That's why a lot of women, when you say, like, most guys that are hanging around you that just want to be friends, they would sleep with you the second they get the chance.
Yeah.
And women are like, what? No, you can't. Not him. But no, that's just how it is. It is what it is,
I'm like, wait, what? And you don't want to sound like you're being, like, naive or dumb, but you're like, dang it. So you're like, okay.
Well, Fran, you've been quiet over there. You're not liking this, huh?
No, I just feel like people could just be friends. Nothing's really gonna. I have so many guy friends, and they do not want to sleep with me. I don't care what you guys say. I definitely have, like, I change my personality, especially with a different type of group of people. And if I hang out with a certain type of friends,
you don't change the way you look. You don't change the way you look.
Yeah, but they don't find me attractive. And I don't find them attractive. So, like, you remember, you have to understand. There's also
it's a lot. No,
absolutely. Swear on everything. Swear on everything. No,
really?
I've actually had this conversation. Swear, I'm definitely just. This is the one thing I'm gonna put my foot down. I think people could just be friends and not want to sleep with each other.
Okay.
Maybe we daydream about it. Like, I wonder how it'd be, but no one's ever gonna pursue it. No one's just gonna be my friend because they think they're gonna sleep with me.
You must get really clingy in a relationship, and they just be like, you know what? If I do something, then you're gonna get clingy, girl.
Melissa,
no, I'm just a bartender, and I know how to talk to people.
Sorry, I was just,
I could have that relationship with guys.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Not clingy. Get the fuck out of here. That's a horrible observation. I would never say that. I just think that there's people who could just be friends.
Because there's a reason why. Okay, so if you go to a bar on Tuesday and you be her friend, you're gonna get a drink and everything. I'm just messing around with you, Freddie. I'm pretty sure your perception.
I know. I do see the world of rose-colored glasses. I'm not gonna lie. I could be a space cadet sometimes, but I just know a couple of things, and that's one of them. Sometimes you just have a platonic relationship. That's all.
Yeah, I definitely see it being platonic from the female saying no side. It's never going to be the male saying no. It's rarely. I want to say never. It's going to be rare that the male is saying no, because most guys would sleep with anything. Yeah. On that note, we'll end on that happy note.
No, it's like anything. That's.
I don't know. I wouldn't say anything. You
just said anything.
Oh, I did? Okay, well, I'm sorry. It's getting late.
I need me some doggy treats too.
This?
Yeah, you got some Scooby snacks.
Guys, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie, like I feel like these types of situations are really good because even though you could like agree to disagree and just like also be respectful, which is I feel like we need more in the world. So, I mean, to be honest, it was very enlightening and I'm glad that I met like you two. So it was a fun experience for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Good. Fran, what do you think?
Yeah, also like it's also like a great experience. It's fun. It's getting to like know other people's opinions. It's really it's fun. It really is.
Enlightening. E Black, closing thoughts.
This episode was brought to you by Wave Brush. Obviously, they only send me the products. We're not going to talk about the other people on this, but no, it's been a great show. And I appreciate all the young ladies. They stuck it through. We all have fun. Thank Clement for bringing me back. I always enjoy talking. You have some of the most eclectic people I've ever met, beautiful people I've ever met. So,
Hey, listen, I try to get people that have interesting points of view. That is something that, or at least a different side that I'm gonna at least learn about, and I think that is really like the fun part of this, to bring people on your point of view. Listen, you and I agree in some things and we don't agree in certain things, and I think that's perfectly okay. I think we as a generation need to learn to start understanding that we could disagree with someone and not hate their guts. You know what I mean? And you can be friends with someone, and that's really just it. So, on that note, thank you guys for coming, and we are going to call it a night. Enjoy.
MJ on the beat, ho.
They know they shouldn't have let me start speaking my mind in the booth. Start speaking the truth. Might get shot for it, but MLK did too.
Look to the sky, ask God why innocent lives have to die. One thing I know, a flower will grow once you plant the seed inside your soul.
Paint the perfect picture without belittling each other. Cause under God's system we really one another's brother. And the system set up just to make one another struggle. Work it out like we gaining muscle. I done seen Flint, Michigan in the inner cities. They pissing in project buildings that got a roof that leaks, resulting in missing ceilings. Hard to sleep. Children going to schools dealing issues deep. Teacher got the nerve to ask what's the feeling. He got up and started lashing out. See, it's a start. Physical display and mental destruction. Yeah, now that's the art. Politicians, government instructing you to do your part. It ain't hard to see they trying to keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks. Cops shooting blacks as if they get a token from God. School rob you with needed resources, but you finance like cars. Too many of us worrying about what we be spending at bars, while queens are done playing themselves through the subconscious mirage. And here I was, a young boy just praying to get a menage with two of the baddest Nickies, hoping they shift my stick like some cars. And when you're lonely in your darkest thoughts come, I know it's hard, but God shines his light on all I play their part, and it's the start.
Look to the sky, ask God why innocent lives have to die. One thing I know, a flower will grow once you plant the seed inside your soul.
See, I'm a poet and the best part of me shows it. Here to speak the message of what is known, but not what it takes, expose it. Listen closer as I take you on a mental path. See divisions, the math, hoping we clash on lower levels just like in the past. Before we begin to see spared lives, keep in mind the first 3 letters of unity starts with you and I. And maybe then we can all thrive, changing the narratives of our lives, finding belief from inside. We gotta come together, different feathers, and we fly together despite any weather, evolving up forward just like propellers, using negatives to fuel positives. How we change the mark, just like taking the devil's flames just to warm the coldest heart. Mama knew it from the start, DC mode would be a spark to lead the light that works its way out, illuminate through the dark. Funny cause my skin is dark despite the stereotypes exemplify brilliance, cause I found that genius within my mind. You see words create worlds when you use the term tear your mind, takes what it sees and mimics that just like a mirror. So if we change the way we speak, conscious the energy we give, we'll have a world full of positive word of jigger. Can I live?